Oh my God, Greater Collective. Oh, running feels pretty good. And I got a download I want to share with everyone. It's been plaguing a lot of people for some years now, for about a decade, and they can't figure it out. So I want to help. So, the reason they put the alphabet back in kindergarten on the teacher's desk is because of the deeper truth behind the number and letter system. Because it has to do with your soul. And God gave me that myself, letter by letter, to me, to decipher. And every step of it, oh, this letter means this word. Oh, wait, that letter is a whole nother word. That's full of a bunch of letters. Oh shit, now if I decode that, what does that mean? But every letter is another word. Oh my God, we're going down deep. Oh, but it's all times two. And you gotta start the second letter on top first, times two, and then go to the first letter times two, then fold it down, and then read it across in slow motion and hammer that shit in. On top of, there's way too much you gotta know to fucking deal with that shit. And you have to do it inside your own head with your eyes closed, right? You have to code yourself, program yourself. So every person that was following me on Facebook and being like, oh, I got the other pieces I need. Oh, if that means that, okay, I'll just turn it backwards. Uh-huh. I'll just corner exchange the L, mind divided, turn around. You just flipped away from your own pole. Every step of that, it removed you further and further away from your soul. And that's what cheaters get. An F on all their papers. A big old fat F. And then you gotta walk that shit out through sobriety and working in that hole real hard. Every time you're messed up, not be running away from it, thinking you hold it over anybody's head. It's you against you. And then anybody else that tries to hold that against you fucking bashes their own head, their own body, and their own soul right into the fucking earth and just starts degrading. And then they gotta start reaching for everyone around to hold them up. And the one that has it looks like they're all alone. But all the spirits, good, bad, the devil, the angels, all of them only have a right to protect that one. Because that one is the only one that's true. The teacher with the apple on the desk. What's a desk made out of? A tree? Okay? And what's he got behind him? The blackboard. But when he's writing shit on the blackboard, he's pulling it out of his head and writing it in white and in chalk. That's erasable. But you can't erase the truth. And everybody else is looking over his shoulder while he's dictating and trying to show them how to do it. And they just copy it and they think they know something. And that's the easiest way to show everybody without getting them too involved in trying to hurt everybody and trying to think they can control nothing. Because the one that went through all the rings, all the way into the center pole of the tree of life, and got there, and then got beamed up, and found what everybody's problem is, and never was deluded the entire time, and then dropped down and immediately knew, Lucifer, that's what's wrong with everybody. And then had to walk that shit out for another 5.5 years while all the demons were in people and taking over people around them and trying to snatch the apple. See, that's Eve. See, that's their bitch. Their bitch. While they're cheating on their own Adam. So they ain't Adam. They ain't got him. Their own woman, their own rib ran off on them. And they're separated from themselves, trapped on the battlefield in treason. Where the serpent on the tree, well, what serpent? Each of us has a mind. And that would be the image of Christ, but as soon as you've seen it, you already know the truth, and you wouldn't be able to use it against anybody. It's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth. It is. Oh, who's trying to get anything over on anybody? Only somebody who's got a demon possessed in them. Only somebody that's a narc. Somebody that's just trying to control others. Somebody that uses out of the wrong means and isn't here for the human family, isn't here for themselves, and isn't willing to suffer in order to make the entire walk across the battlefield back to the empty space of where God resides before the creation of the earth. So then everybody's trapped in the Garden of Eden as the snakes in the pit. And everybody that jumps into my place, here, there, or anywhere, It's like, oh, look at all the snakes on the tree. Yeah, look, I'm Indiana Jones. I'm going to jump in here. Oh, no snakes. Yeah, I'm going to steal some stuff. I'm going to run out and be like, look, I'm working for the Nazis. I got all the golden idols. And revealing exactly, caught red-handed. Caught red-handed. 514. So you either support the people around you, you take care of them, and everyone's equal, or those who come against you, they usually come in groups. Otherwise, you two people who would talk it out. Then it shows who's in the wrong, and there's no judgment. Everyone is judged by their own self, and I'm not yourself. You have your own self. I'm dealing with the self, and everyone else has that exact same challenge. So who's trying to get ahead? Who's running ahead, thinking they can get a wife, get a child, get some money, get some respect, get all their team together when they ain't got shit from shit. They ain't even got a pole to sit on or one to lead out in front of them. They ain't got no rings on their tree, and they ain't got no roots. And so it has to start at the root. It's got to end at the root, and you got to take and carry all of them fucking leaves with you, which means, yeah, there's going to be things that don't make sense in there, but that's none of anybody else's business. But if they want to go dig it dumpster driving through somebody else's stuff, then hey, then they're getting all the poisons that they wanted. They wanted to be thieves, and then they get cursed like thieves. See, this is God's grace, and every person is on their honor, or you have no honor. You know, there's two people I gave that code to. And they looked at it, they found a way that they thought they could use others just enough, and they threw it away, and were stuck. They got stuck. And I still respect everybody. Don't you fucking get in my face. Don't you fucking gang up on me. And don't you not be able to communicate in a kind voice. And don't you touch me when I tell you not to touch me. That's all the violations of human rights, of being a dad, being a brother, being a friend, being a leader. You don't do that. That's why Dad walks alone. As a son, with the Holy Spirit, whose name is Sophia, but his name was Sophia originally. And Sophia, and they kept dividing it. And so you can't use them letters against nobody else. You don't even know. You're going to have to divide them, understand them, decode them, recode them, test them on paper, test them inside your head, counting the numbers out of values before you ever fucking go to Dan's and fucking think you could just type it out and be like, oh, I'm going to copy him, or I'm just going to copy and paste him. You're missing in action. You ain't at home. There's nobody there. You believe the truth. As you are. All the time. There's no sides. There's no higher or lower. There's no greater or less than. That's all math. You do that shit on paper. Or an abacus, or a calculator, or you do it on your hands and toes. When you go along, one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and everybody can see the proof. Otherwise, what is it? What's $1 billion worth $1,000? You gave your entire life away for it. All that time, and you got nothing at the end. You got a piece of paper, and you got to give it right back. Kind of like when anybody takes anything from here, it doesn't belong to them, and thinks they can hurt or control others with it. That's why the Masons, as much as we got our problems because of the way that the system was set up, and a lot of narcs are trapped in there. That's why it's set up that they're all Ma's sons, but Ma's on. But May doesn't have any sons. Nobody was ever born May 1st, except for, if you look in history, only me. But his name was pronounced May. It was M-E. And so if anybody knows who me is and who May 1st is, then they would know the Father, the Son, and the Mother, the Holy Divine, and the Holy Spirit all come on one being in a body And you could be it too. All you gotta do is get your shit together and fucking walk the same path alone in the dark with all the demons surrounding you and the Masons and all that, and still uphold everybody's higher values and still be looking out for everyone's family. There ain't nothing negative I've ever said about anybody that, well, that they could sit back and go, yeah, that's true. And he's right. Or, oh, well, that's what I told everybody else, so that's not true, but, well, that it is what he saw, even though that's only part of the story. So there's never anything to get mad about. And if you could see it, well, then if it makes you mad, then that's yours to work on. It has nothing to do with me. Especially if you brought it to my attention. And then my attention just handed you back. I mean, that's love. See, it's the year of the snake in Chinese. That's upside down and backwards on the world. That's on the other side. There's a billion people over there. And all of them know who I am. Before I was born, I say that Jesus, the one, I mean, I am and I'm not. Because this is the way the story, the manipulation is. He was transmitting from heaven to everybody who ever lived. He never existed. It even claims it in the Bible to back itself up. Which you have to know your shit, and you have to have studied all the religions and how everybody got to that point. Otherwise, you're just getting fake money and going home and holding fake money. Every single book ever published had to go through, or originally had to go through a publisher because it had to prove, you had to submit it to prove how diluted or how close to Christ you were, the internal one. And then when you market your book, what do you get? You get 10%. You just get J. Yeah, you just desire mine, all nothing. Okay, we get it all, and you can hold your little piece of a mind, or you just hold it all the time. And what's money, right? What's honor? What story are you trying to tell everybody? You're trying to get everybody all lost on something else, or you're trying to get them back to themselves, so we can all rise together as one people, humanity. That's why every single religion, every single culture focuses on Maya, May the One, May the First. That's God's womb. That's the portal. And every singer has to switch over to there and call out from the pole as a serpent with an apple and echo and 3 times from that spot once they sign a contract in order to trap everybody else in the burning building. And so, I can't fault them either. I mean, that's how they ended up there. And I can't judge them. Everyone judges themselves. And at some point, they're like, oh man, I hate this. Especially if he's actually here. And then, well, we gotta burn everybody on the planet. And that's why Trump and Elon. That's exactly why. So they're working with me and for me at the same time as who's working for who? Or work for God. The mind on the pole. We're all of one species or one people or one kind. Or there's a bunch of rodents running around thinking they're human beings. And that's not disrespect. That's just, we're talking about mindsets. We're talking about body. We're to elevate the mind and the body. At the same time, those two people, I joined the Rosicrucians blindly. Not even knowing, God leads us, which is spirit, which is the mind on the pole within. They just send backwards. I joined the Rosicrucians on this day in 2019, right after I woke. Well, a couple months later. And I didn't realize I was 7/7. That's funny. But it's 7/7. 7 backslash. So, fuck. In the code, anybody who could read it was like, what? What's his name? What's his initials add up to? What's his... God damn, we gotta watch this one. This one's different. We ain't never seen nothing like this. Otherwise, we would already know he was coming. And we're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen now? But one of the things that's suggested, but spiritual language is always laden with all kinds of information that takes a long time to digest. And that's why most everyone's illiterate, even though they know how to read. The mind, illiterate, ILL. Everybody's mind's cornering their own mind, otherwise, and their own body and their own spirit, or they can hold both poles. All 3. I, L. 3. And it says you should uh, uh, suggest, refer two people to join the Rosicrucian Order. For at least two. That's the funny thing because the two that you're referring to is yourself, but you got to hold the pair and guide everyone up. Both of them looked into it and was like, "Oh yeah, oh I'm not meditating, I'm not doing this. This is some woo stuff. I don't. This doesn't teach me how to do anything powerful. It doesn't satisfy the ego, so I don't want it." And so they didn't fight both directions at the same time. The whole time during COVID, I was going back and forth between doing meth. After I asked God, I don't want to do this, but why do you keep telling me to do this? If I'm supposed to have it, then bring it to me. And then we go through the process. And then I'd sit at my mirror. I'd pray. I'd write. Sometimes on it, sometimes off. And I would go through my workbook, my practices. Every Wednesday, even if I was strung out or high, I would show up and be on camera, on the video, almost always, and arrive on our Wednesday teleconferences. That proves the proof of the soul. There ain't no fucking ego in it. There ain't no getting one up on somebody. Saying, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I want to learn how to fight. Oh, and I think another download I got. Okay. So one thing about learning how to fight, right? So if you train to fight and you have that on your record, then if you ever hurt somebody, you're a deadly weapon. And you prove that you want to protect yourself. That's like having a gun. And then when you shoot somebody because they're a perpetrator, well, you're still the one who fucking shot somebody. You're still the one that had the gun. And so then that's first case in point. But I didn't want to die. Right? But the whole point is, yeah, but you're the one that caused the damage. You're the one that touched somebody first. You're the one that hurt somebody. But. There ain't no fucking but. There is no but. So you train as a weapon. Now you're a weapon. Now you're dangerous. Just like, so if you go, another thing the system set up. So if you go and you're like, man, I want some drugs, or I can't manage my emotions, I want to go to some antidepressants, I want to go to counseling. That sounds good and all, right? Because the system leads us in to put our heads up our butts on purpose so that we have all the marks on us to show that we're not competent unless they gave us the competency. And so then you owe them everything and you don't even have you. So then, oh, you have a history, huh? A history of mental disorder. No, I don't. Well, it says here you have an autistic diagnosis. I do. And depression. Uh-huh. You take drugs for those. Uh-huh. Okay. So you're a drug addict that can't manage your emotions. And have you worked in exercise? Did you do counseling? Is there any record of your journey? Or did you just get that and then now you're like, and your body starts breaking down? Or then everybody has to give you extra allotments because there's something wrong with you because the doctor said so. So then it shows you've revealed that you're not willing to pick yourself up. And this is something that I've realized later because the very first time, see, here's a story. After college, right? I went to college for a year. Best fucking, to an actual college. I got a scholarship. This is like $27,000, $30,000 college. And on some poetry that I wrote, the only spiritual guru I ever met, Marsha Mittman. You should read her books. Look her up. She was there during 9/11. She moved to Black Hills. She's an amazing lady. She's a spiritual guru. She's the only spiritual guru I've actually met and had in my life. Way before I could understand what the fuck I was doing at the same time as I was reading all those books. At 16, 17, and walking every night for 10 miles by myself in the dark with no one around, and then coming home, writing poetry, and reading Wiccan, reading Buddhism, reading the Bible, reading Hinduism, reading Sikhism, reading fucking Taoism, reading all those books with nobody in the whole planet to fucking be there for me. And by grace of God, they brought me her. And so we'd moved down here to Oklahoma. I went to the VOTEC for a year. I got a bunch of scholarships and stuff. Well, I mean, not scholarships, but it gave me my GED that turned it into a diploma, especially since the school helped me out. And a nearby school said, well, anybody who took the VOTEC class like this, if you pay 200 extra bucks or 250, we'll give you a whole year's worth of college credits. Well, my Pell Grant gave me an extra $1,000 a semester. So I'm like, duh. Here, take it. Take a quarter of what I get for free. I want that. Now I got college credits. Now I can go to real college. Now I can go. See, I've always been a go-getter. Like, just give it to me. But then everybody just stands around and then tries to drain off me. And then, like, my family is not supportive, and they call me the stupid, the crazy one, the dummy. And hold each other's down. And I wasn't doing any drugs or anything at that time. I mean, well, I smoked pot since I was 15. But that was the only thing that ever leveled me out and helped me through my trauma. And alcohol, well, that ain't a good drug for nobody. That's the one. That's the baby meth. You get too drunk, you fall down, you hit your head. You get an argument, and then people be, oh, you're drunk. And tomorrow you feel like God, you just raped your soul, And then you didn't learn nothing. A couple weeks later, you're out and you're drunk again. Well, anyway, so I got these. I went to college. So I hadn't talked to her a year. And I was like, hey, I got over the summer. I was like, hey, I haven't talked to you so long. I've been thinking about you. I got these college credits and stuff. And she's like, hey, send me some of your poetry. My daughter works as an attorney for Rocky Mountain College in Billings, Montana, right? And Marsha lived in Spearfish. She's probably passed away now. I swear. I hope she isn't. I should email her today. And then I went to school for the year. Well, then she got me in, and I paid like $5,000 to $7,000 student loans. That was the best year of my life. So good. It was so good. I could live there. I could live at that college. I love learning, and then just going on, and because of it was a higher school, and it's a Methodist college. So there's a lot of religious people there. And so then I'd be around religious people we could talk about and debate religion. And then I worked at the Yellowstone AIDS Project, helping people who have AIDS. And one of the greatest numbers of people with AIDS that's not talked about, it's women. That their husbands go out and do a bunch of dudes and come home and then give it to their wife, and their babies are born with AIDS, and then their wife gets it too, and then the dad runs off and plays with his boys. That's a unspoken of tragedy in the last 50 years since HIV. And so I've been a person of service my entire life, in every way, shape, and form. Well, so then at the end of that year, the day after I leave, graduated on my birthday, my 21st birthday, went to Spearfish, where I come from, and my old friend, the weed dealer before it was ever legal, shipping kilos of it up from Colorado and thinking he's a big baller and blowing all his cash and stuff so that he could buy his own construction business so he could be the man or whatever. Everybody comes up how they come up. But that's his story. Mr. Waggy, Shane, oh boy. Well, anyway, it's like, what do you want to do? It's your birthday. I didn't see you in a couple years. And then that's how the first time I ever did meth. I didn't have any fucking clue in the world what it was. It's one of the worst experiences, and then one of the best, and one of the most peculiar experiences of my entire life. That's what began it. The day after I was considered an adult. The day after my birthday. The day after completing 2 years of college. There's where for the next 20 years, let's say 22, up until 2 months ago, I've been fighting that fucking demon. And carrying the whole fucking load the entire time. By myself. And still learning, still growing, still evolving, still helping people. Not cowering down. Still got all my fucking teeth. After 22 years. Because it's about how you feel about yourself and how you want to take care of yourself and others. And so, yeah, the demon got a hold of me. Not really. He barely had my fucking coattail. Well, so then I come back here and put in my mom's place. First thing she does, while I'm all strung out, tries to set me up with a girl that's on dope. It's got 2-3 kids. Trying to get me to stay here so I won't leave. To go to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where my girlfriend is. And that was only, I think it was one other time. There's been 2 times in my entire life I cheated on somebody. And I'll admit it. I know the exact moments. And you learn from those. There's no hiding, there's no secrets. What's a fucking secret? Who's sneaking around, huh? It was the worst sex I ever had. 1 second done. And all guilt. As soon as I got there, Cedar Rapids, I told her. After I left, I haven't seen you in a month. Fuck, this drug got a hold of me. I got my family sitting with this girl, and I'm all strung out. And then, fuck, just kill me. I'm sorry. Please, I don't know, help me. And she supported me for the next few years. Not supported like carried me. We both had our own jobs. And I supported her while she went to equestrian school, and I didn't go to school. I went to work, and she went to equestrian school, which she ended up dropping out of. But she's an amazing person with animals. She even, one of the saddest things I ever saw. We're getting back to the psych part. One of the worst things ever. She's working at PetSmart, or Petco, one, two. And she was a pet groomer. And one of the dogs, there was 2 people standing outside talking to each other, and one of them had a dog on a leash. And she just leans down and says, "Hey, puppy." And the dog jumped up and fucking bit a third of her lip out. And after that, she was ashamed to kiss me the rest of our relationship. And she put up with me being strung out beyond fucking strung out, and never, we may have had 1-2 fights about it. Overall, like, even her friends started coming over and doing it with us, but she wouldn't really do it. She put up with that. She is a saint. She got pet grooming business now. Husband, some beautiful kids. Love you, Kara. Should have been you. She's the best woman I've ever known. But during that time, I was like, fuck. When I was trying to straighten myself out, I'm like, I started exercising. I started journaling. I started doing all the counseling stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. I went to a psychologist, mirror shrink, whatever. And I'm like, okay, so no matter what I do, I'm just depressed. I don't know why. And so here's my situation. Here's how I grew up. Here's my life. My whole life, I've been trying to recover from the abuse from my family when I was growing up. And they still don't recognize me as part of the family. And then now there's just drugs in it. And I've quit the drugs temporarily. And though at the time, like around that time, before or after, shit, all of them came to me. Just about, except for heroin and PCP. Ain't touched that stuff. Just like pills, ketamine, uh, weed, speed, coke, uh, just whatever, mushrooms, everything but LSD. But that came later. You know, it's a long journey, but you have to have met all of those versions of your mind to even know who you are. To ever get back to the pole where you started when you were a baby, and have all that knowledge to be a man, to be an adult, to be an upstanding member of society, and to know what the fuck is wrong with everybody else, enough to guide others. Well, he gave me some Lexapro. After him telling me, dude, you're doing a good job. There's not one thing I can tell you that you need to change. Um, but I'll give you this. I mean, it might help you, it might not. But I mean, there's nothing that you don't know that I wouldn't have said when you were here. You sound like you're on your way. You're a smart man. I took that stuff, Lexapro, at the pharmacy. Cedar Rapids is it's not a big city, but, it can take you 30 minutes to drive home. Sometimes there's traffic. 15 at least, because I lived in Marion. And 10 minutes later, I'm driving. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot see. Oh my God, it's so bright out here. I look in the mirror, and boom, my pupils were gone. And I hadn't done ecstasy yet. Later on, I did, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the shitty version of MDMA? Okay, that's just way better, but see, now you can't function on that. And I hated how antidepressants made me. I worked in a call center, right, doing tech support. And I'd literally feel like numb, like my skin would feel weird and gross. And I'd feel like there was nobody at home. I didn't really enjoy anything. When I'd have sex, we stopped having sex because I couldn't get off. No matter how hard I tried, it was just like trying to do a freaking board. And it just hurt our relationship. And I would go highs and lows. Like, on it, just like it's another drug addiction. Antidepressants are. They fuck up your makeup. And it said, like, well, if you have something that suppresses or replaces the drugs in your brain, especially if you take it every single day, what does that do? It makes it so your body relies on it when it needed you to moderate and raise your vibration and to give yourself that first. And then you would naturally evolve through the depression and you would get better. But if you take an antidepressant or a drug to do it, then the body says, yeah, I don't have to anymore. And then now you're a drug addict. Now you can't live without it, and your body's broken. And so, what's mind altering? Everything you put in your body. Everything we think about, everything we do. It's about elevating. And it starts with one. And from that one out of many out of one. There ain't no pair. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm hot.